Here are your at-home insiders, Frank Saravalli, Pierre Lebrun, and Darren Drager. Long Board of Governors call on Monday, almost 2 hours. Obviously, they talked about this idea of a June draft. But Pierre, what were the specifics discussed and any other topics come up?
Yeah, an hour and 45 minutes, James, on that call Monday. A lot of ground covered. Obviously, the draft was at the heart of it. No decision taken. As we reported, the league's going to take at least the rest of this week, if not into next week, before announcing a decision on whether or not to hold a June draft. There were still issues to work through, but there were other elements to this board call. Once again, the league's infectious disease consultant updated governors on what he's hearing, what he's seeing, and giving an idea and a view of the pandemic. That's happened on every governor's call since the pause. Gary Bettman, NHL commissioner, also addressing governors about the league's idea, going to a 4-site centralized format tournament, if you want. 11 to 14 teams have put in bids to be one of those 4 sites. Now, Bettman apparently told governors, as I'm told, that yes, the players have concerns, as Darren Dreger talked about last week, about being in a bubble for 3 months, and that the league and the PA are trying to come up with solutions to that. Perhaps the players, getting a break out of the bubble to go see their loved ones. So lots to work over there. And the Return to Play committee, which has players on it, is meeting again for a 4th time with the NHL officials on Wednesday.
Now, before they can get into that bubble, we first have to get to phase 2, getting the players back together. What's the latest timetable for that, Dregs?
Well, the NHL is hopeful, James, that they'll be able to initiate phase 2 in later May. But that's all subject to a review, and it is too early to start the review process. The NHL, though, guys, is encouraged by the markets that are loosening up, but they're cautiously optimistic and monitoring carefully to see if there will be any setbacks. The motto is simply better safe than sorry. Phase 2, though, can't really get started until the large majority of the NHL teams are able to open up, and that means players coming back. But here's an interesting twist to all of that. Even though the majority of clubs may be able to open up, unless they can all open up at the same time or around the same time, the NHL isn't going to allow players to go to their club facility again until the majority are able to do that.
If and when they do play, we know there won't be any fans. So, Frank, how is the NHL handling ticket refunds?
Well, James, at this point, the NHL is leaving it up to individual clubs to decide. But the point being that all clubs are currently working through a process to begin coming up with plans for fans to refund money. The large majority of teams would like to try and roll that money from this season into next year's ticket plans, but certainly teams like the New Jersey Devils have come out and already begun to offer refunds and incentives. If you renew your package for next season or roll that money forward, we'll be donating tickets to frontline workers to use next season. Teams like the Philadelphia Flyers, you have to ask for a refund instead of a credit if you'd like it. And the Canadian clubs, of course, are working through their own process. The Edmonton Oilers hope to formalize their plans next week. And when you're dealing with as many as 7 home dates that could be unplayable at this point, you begin to start to realize the revenue that the NHL and these teams are losing. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in gates, concessions, merchandise, and parking for these games that if they aren't played, certainly if they are played, there's not going to be fans in the building, and you begin to understand just how big this pile of money is.
That's really the only certainty in all of this, is that if and when they do play again, it will be in empty arenas. Insider trading from TSN Hockey.